In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a complete developer portfolio website using React and Tailwind CSS. You would learn step by step how to build a clean and professional portfolio website you can proudly send to clients or employers. Think of your portfolio as a digital CV, a place where your skills, projects, and services shine. Let's get to it. So this is what we're going to be building in this video. You're going to build the sidebar and then you're going to build the pages. So on the sidebar, you're going to have your name right here. We're going to have links. Then you're going to have a button at the bottom to download the CV. This is the main page right here. And then we have the service section where you can display all the services you can offer your clients. And then we have the portfolio section where you can showcase all your projects. So you can see how this looks. So let's say I click on this now. I'm going to get more details of this project. We're going to get the name of the project, the client, the languages you use to build it, and then a link to view the project. Also, the picture of the project will be below all of this. This is another project right here. If I hover on this and I click on it, you're going to see this is a source landing page. We can see right here the details and then the image as well. Also, you're going to build the contact form where your clients or your potential employer can send you an email and then you're going to receive it. So this is what the contact form looks like. It looks very stunning. Have a project, send a message so we can get to work. We have the full name right here for both first and last name. Then we have the email section right here. Then we have the message and the button. So this is all you're going to build in this tutorial. So let's get to it. To start a project, you're going to open your code editor. I'm going to be using VS Code. Then you navigate to terminal, open a new terminal. On the terminal, we're going to create our project folder and then we're going to install React. So right here, you're going to change directory, cd, desktop. Then you're going to create your project. You're going to type in this npm create vit at latest, the name of the project, portfolio, React, and it has a sidebar, space hyphen template React, then press enter. So you will get this prompt. If you want to use roll down vite experimental, I'm going to select yes. Install with npm and start now. No, for beginner's sake, this is why I'm doing this. Okay, then you're now going to change directory to the project folder that we just created, React site. And then you press enter. And now you're going to install npm install. So once that has been installed, you type in code space full stop, then you press enter. So with this, you're going to open the project folder in a new window in VS Code. So you're going to see that pop up right now. Okay. So you can see portfolio React site, everything is right here. So I'm going to close the previous one and I'm just going to open this one. I'll just leave it open. I'm going to expand. I'll close this now. Okay, so we can have a larger screen. Okay, so everything we need is right here. We have our node modules, public folder, source folder, git ignore. Everything is right here. Now you need to navigate to your terminal. We want to start the server to see if our React app is working, if we can see the default React app. Okay, so you're going to type in npm run dev. So you're going to type in npm run dev to start the server. So open this now, and then we should see the default React app. You can see right here. Counterbot is working. Okay, let's try to make a change in our app.jsx. Let's see. So where we have Vit plus React, I'm going to type in this, subscribe to my channel. So we should see this now, subscribe to my channel. Okay, so this is working perfectly well. Now all we need to do is some cleanup so that we can use this the way we want. Okay, so I'm just going to Ctrl A, delete everything we have here. I'm going to delete app.css because we're not going to use it for this project. index.css. I'll delete everything we have there as well. Control A, backspace. Okay. Then you need to have this extension EX7 plus React Redux React Native extension. Do well to install this extension. I have mine installed already. So you just come right here in the search bar, just type in EX7 plus React / Redux / React Native snippets. Install it. Then next step, right here in our app.gss, you're going to type in this keyword RAFC to create React snippets. That is if you have installed that extension. So it's going to create your React snippet for you. And then the next thing now is to install Tailwind CSS before we start creating our components and pages. So I'm going to stop the server. So I'll click right here. Then I'm going to type in Ctrl+C to stop the server. You can see right now the server has stopped working. So back to our Chrome. We'll visit the official Tailwind CSS website. And also we need to install React icon, the npm package. We also need to install React Router DOM so that we can navigate between pages. Okay, so this is the official website for Tailwind CSS. Once you're on this website, click on Docs, and then you're going to see the installation process. Okay, so we're using Vite, so we're going to follow the steps to install Tailwind. So the first step is to create our project, which we've already done. Next step is to install Tailwind CSS. So in the terminal, we're going to paste this code right here. So I'm just going to paste this in the terminal. Okay, so we've installed Tailwind. Then the next step is to configure the Vite plugin. So right here we have vite.config.cs, but in our own case it's going to be .js because we're using JavaScript. So you copy this line of code, then you paste it where we have vite.config.js, paste it right here. Then you copy this line of code as well. Then after this React in the plugin, you paste it here. So I'll close this. Then the next step is to import Tailwind CSS. So we'll copy this and then paste it in index.css, which is our global CSS. Then the next step is to start our build process, then start using Tailwind. Okay, so we're done with this. Now for React icon, just copy the installation code that is here, and then you paste it in the terminal while that is installing. For React Router DOM as well, we'll do the same thing. We'll copy the installation code and then you paste it in the terminal as well. So paste it right here, React Router DOM. Okay, so while that is installing, let us try and start with Tailwind CSS. So right here, I'm going to have an H1 and it's still going to say subscribe to my channel. This is another reminder for you to subscribe to my channel if you have not. Then let's start styling. Class name, let's say text size 4XL, and then the color, let's use green 400. Okay, so let's restart the server and see if the Tailwind CSS styling has been applied right here. So you're going to type in npm rounded once more in the server. So while our server is starting, let us check our package log.json. In our dependencies, we're going to see that we've installed React icons, React Router DOM, and Tailwind CSS. Okay, so follow link, and then you can see that this is working perfectly well. So I'm going to close the previous one, close this as well. So now that we've installed the necessary things, we can now start building. But then we have this typewriter right here. That means we need to install this as well. So let us install React Simple Typewriter. So just type in React Simple Typewriter, and then you should get it right here. The npm package. Okay, we're going to copy this installation code and then we'll paste it in our terminal. I do not want to stop the server, so I'm just going to open another fresh terminal and then paste the installation code right there. So I'll paste this here. While this is installing, we can be creating our project. So this has installed already. You can see React Simple Typewriter. Okay, so let us close our terminal finally. And then let's start building. So in the source folder, we're going to create the component folder. And then we're going to create the pages folder. In the component folder, we're going to have our sidebar component. So sidebar.jsx, refc to create React snippets. Press enter. And then for the pages, we have the home page.jsx, refc as well. Press enter. Then we have the contact page, contact.jsx, refc as well. We have the service page, refc. And then we have the portfolio. So for the portfolio, we're going to create the folder, portfolio. And in the portfolio folder, we're going to have the portfolio itself, refc, and also the portfolio data. .jsx, refc as well. And then all the images that we're going to use for this project is going to be here as well. So you're going to see that in the description box. You're going to see the GitHub Access right there. Okay, so let us start building. So the first step is to set up our routes before creating the sidebar. So right here in our app, the GSX, we're going to do that. So the first step is to create a div tag. Then inside this div tag, we're going to mount the sidebar. The sidebar is going to be in our app.jsx. So we'll close the sidebar. After the sidebar, we'll have another div tag. Inside this div tag is where we're going to set up the routes. So we'll start with routes from React Router DOM. So you select the one from React Router DOM. So routes. And then inside this route, we'll create our route without an S from React Router DOM as well. So let me add a comma here. I'm just going to type in routes. Okay, so we'll set the parts. The first one would be for this first part we're setting for is for the home page. So the part is /, then we'll have elements, and this is where we're going to render our components or pages. So we're going to render the home page. So I'm going to have home right here. Then I'm going to close this. The next route we want to set up would be for services. So we'll have routes, we'll set up the parts, / services, element, service. We'll mount our service page here. Then the next route setup would be for portfolio, elements. We'll mount the portfolio page right here, and then we'll close the route setup. And lastly, we'll set the paths for contact, elements, contacts. Okay, so I forgot to close this. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is to import all of this. So I'm just going to type in imports home from // component now is in pages slash home page. So slash home. And then the next one would be for services. So services from dot forward slash pages. Slash services. And then we have for portfolio. So import portfolio. So we'll close this up now. And then I'm going to cut this, highlight and then cut. Oh, why is this mouse doing this? Control X, then I'm going to paste it in between the browser router. But I also need to import browser router from React Router DOM. Okay. Browser. Okay, there's a typo error here. Browser. Same thing here. Browser. Okay. So if we check now, the only thing we should see is the sidebar and then the home page, right? So let us work on our sidebar now. I'm going to close app, open the sidebar, and then we'll start building. So the first thing we're going to do here is to create two div tags. After these two div tags, we'll create a button. Inside the first div tag, we're going to have an h2 tag, and that is where we're going to have your name. So here I'm just going to use John Doe. Then the second div tag is where we'll have the nav link. So we'll use nav link from React Router DOM. So in between this nav link, we're going to have the p tag, and then we're going to have our text. So the first text here will be for the home page. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy this and then paste it. So the second p tag would be for the services. The third p tag would be for portfolio, and the last one would be for contacts. Then the button here would say download CV, and we'll use an icon. So we're going to visit the website to get the icon, but first we need to set the path for the nav link. So for the first nav link, we want it to go to the home page. Like when the user clicks on the text, it should lead the user to the home page. So to home page, which is going to take /, and that's the same thing that we have here. So ensure that your paths match when you're setting up your route. Okay, now for the next one, which is for services, to /services. And that's the same thing that we have right here in app.gsx. The next one would be for portfolio. And the last one, the paths would be for contacts. Okay. And I said earlier that we're going to have an icon right here. So we're going to visit this website. You can see right here, this is a sidebar, but we're here to style it, so it's not looking like this. Okay, so we need to visit this website, React Icons. So you're just going to type in React Icons. Press enter. And right here where we have react-icons.github.io, click on that. It will lead you to this website where you can get several icons of your choice. So in the search bar, I'm just going to type in download. So you're going to see different icons that will match the keyword that you type in the search bar. Okay, so we're using this first icon. Sorry about that. We're using this first icon right here, this download icon. So first off, you paste what you copied, and then the tag, you copy it as well. And then you paste it where you need it. Okay. And there's another way to use React icon. Let's say we have another button here. You're going to see that. Let's say we want to use the user button. You can just type in user, and then you're going to chill for a moment, React is going to suggest list of icons that will match that keyword. You can see it right here: by user from React icon, by user check from React icon. So you can just select. There are several icons here as well that you can select from. Let's say I want to select this first icon, then I'm just going to close it. You would see that this has been imported as well. You can see this is the icon right here. So let us see what it looks like. The user icon. This is the user icon right here, right? Now let's say I want to search for it here as well. User. You're going to see the icons right here. Okay, so the icon that I chose earlier is BI user icon, and that is right here. Let's see. So this is the icon right here. So you can see that it's the same with what we have here. Okay, it's the same with this. So you can do it either way. You can either type in the icon, and then React is going to suggest a list of icons that will match it, and that is recommended if you know what the icon looks like. If you know what the icon looks like. But if you do not have any idea of the look of the icon, just come right here to this website, react-icon.github.io. Then you just type in the icon you want, and then you see a list of icons that is going to match it, and then you're just going to select and use it in your project. Okay, so let's style our sidebar. So we don't need this, so I'm just going to comment this out, and this as well. So let's style. So we're going to set the width. We'll start with the width, and it would take 22% of the screen size, 22, and then minimum height will be the screen size. We'll set the background color as well with this color code. Then we'll set display to flex direction, colon, justify between, and then we'll set padding to it. Let me close this. And then we have this h2 tag right here. The text size would take 32 pixels, font bold, text white, and the text at the center. Then we have another div tag right here. Display here, we'll set it to flex direction, colon, we'll set a gap of 4, padding top of 20, place items at the center, text transform uppercase, and then the text color should be white. Then we have the nav link. Display here will be flex. Class name. Display would be flex. Items center. No. Items center. And then we're going to have a gap of 3. px 6, py will be 3. Okay. And then for the p tag, the text size, we're going to set that to large. Okay, so the nav link is going to use the same styling, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to copy what we have here and then paste it for this, and for this, and this as well. Okay. Now to the button. The background color will be green, 500. Border radius full, so that is rounded full. The width and height. Display should be flex, justify center. gap of 4. Fonts would be semi-bold, and the text color would be white. And also we need to style the app.jsx. So the first div tag here, I want to set the background color of this entire project with this color code. And then minimum height will be screen. Then we have this other div tag. The display would be flex, the width will be set to full. We have another div tag here. We'll set the width to 70% of the screen. Since the sidebar is taking 22%. Okay, then we'll set margin left with this max width of 5 VW. That's 5 viewing points. Viewing width, and 25 pixels. Then we'll set the margin on y-axis. Then text color would be black, and then the text will be beige. So right now, this is what we have. So if I click on home, we're right here in home. If I click on services, if I click on portfolio, if I click on contacts, you can see right here, contacts. So this is contact here, this is portfolio here, this is services here, and this is home right here. Okay, so it looks like this already. So now let's work on the home page. Okay, so I'm going to close this and this, and then I'm just going to close this as well, close this. I'm going to open home. So on the home page, we're going to have 2 div tags. The first div tag would be for the left content, and the second div tag would be for the right content as well. So for the left div tag, we're going to have an h1 tag. And that is going to take hi with an exclamation mark. Then then we'll have a span tag, John, comma. After the span tag, we're going to have a break tag. So after this break tag, we're now going to have a span tag. Inside this span tag is where we're going to have our typewriter. So that means we need to import typewriter. So right here, I'm going to import typewriter from React Simple Typewriter. Okay, so inside this typewriter that we have right here, we're going to have the words. So we're going to have word. We'll have our array. Then the first word will be web developer, comma. The second would be web designer. Then we'll have a loop. Then cursor. And then our cursor style is going to be this. And then we'll set the type speed to be 70 seconds. Then the delete speed should take 50. And then the delay speed should take 100. Okay, so that's done. After this h1 tag, we're going to have the p tag. So inside our p tag, we're going to have this text. Okay, so this is what the text says. I build visually captivating, user-friendly websites and web app that transform your ideas into seamless, engaging digital experience. So after this p tag, we're going to have a div tag, and inside this div tag, we'll have two buttons. The first one would say contact me, and the second button would display download CV. Okay, so this is for the left content. Now to the right content, we're going to have two images. The first image will be the background image, which is going to be behind the main image. So this here, bg image, I'll have an image tag, and then we're going to have the main profile image, and right here we'll have image tag. Okay, so we need to get the images that we want to use for these projects in our asset folder. Like I said, the image would be in the description box. The GitHub file will be in the description box. So I'm going to use this image right here, hero.png, and I'm also going to use the second background image here. So let us import main image from /assets/ the main image is the hero.png, which is this. Then we'll have background image, import background image from /assets/ bg2.png, and I'll close this. So now for the background image, we're going to have bg img, which is this right here. Then for the main image, we're going to have main image. Okay, so you can see this is what we have right now. So let us style so that this is going to make sense. So let's style this now. Class name, I'm going to set the max width to 5 pixels. The width will be full. Everything should be at the center. And then we'll set it to grid equals 2. The display itself should be grid. I missed that. Grid. Let me close this so that we can have a larger screen. I'll set a gap of 10. Items center, margin top of 20. Then we have this h1 tag right here. The size of this text should be 6XL. The font should be bold. The color, I'll set it to white. And then margin top will take 10. Then we have this span tag right here. I'm going to set the color of that to green 400. Then we have this p tag right here. Text gray 300. Margin top before. Leading relaxed. Then we have the button div tag here. We'll set margin top to 6. Display should be flex. Gap will be 8. Then we have this button right here. I'm going to style both at the same time. The background color will take green 600. When you hover on it, the background color would be green 800. We'll add a transition. Then the width and height, I'm going to set it px6, py will be 3. Border radius will be large. The text color should be white. And then the font, let's see, font medium. Okay, so after this we have this red section here. Class name, display, position, sorry, relative, display flex, justify, center. Now for the background image, the position will be set to absolute. The width will take 115 and the height as well. Rounded full. Objects cover. Margin top take 12. Opacity would be 90. Now to the main image. Position will be set to relative. The width will take 85. Negative margin top will take 14. And then we'll set the Z index to 10. Okay, you can see that this is working perfectly well, as it is here as well. You can see, you can tell no difference between both. You see the way I'm switching between both, and it's just the same thing. Okay, now to services. So I'm going to close this home, then I'm going to open the service section. So for the services, the first thing we need to do is to create an array of objects that's going to hold each services that we have in the service container, just like we have it here. So this is a service container, this is a service container, this is another one, this, right? So we're going to create an array of objects that is going to hold the data in each service object, like the icon, the name of the service, and the details. Okay, so I've already done that. So I'm just going to paste it here. I've already done that, and you're going to get it in the description box. It's also going to be in the GitHub in the description box, so just check the GitHub. You're going to see the services. So I've imported the icons that we're using, and this is the service array. So for each object, like I said, we have the icon, we have the title, and we have the description, just like we have it here. Icon, title, description, right? This is another one right here, icon, title, description, as we have it here. Okay, so you're going to see it in the description box. You're just going to see GitHub Assets, and then you're going to have access to it. Okay, do want to give me a thumbs up on GitHub. Okay, now to the service UI. So first off, we need to create the heading. So we'll have an h2 tag that would say my, and then we'll have a span tag, services. After this h2 tag, we're going to have the card container. So card container. Inside this card container, we'll have a div tag. Then inside the div tag, we're going to map over, we'll look through the service array to display each of the service object data. Okay, so we're going to have services dot map, open brackets, pass service. We're going to have service, and then the index, which represents the index number to uniquely identify each of the objects. Okay, by index number, this is what I mean. This is the service array, right? The entire thing right here is the service array. This is the objects, each of the objects right here. This is the first object, Ctrl Z, sorry. This is the first object. This is the second object as well. This is the third object, and this is the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. Okay, so in coding, when we want to check if we want to do numbering for array, index starts with 0. So the index number of this will be 0, the index number of this will be 1, this will be 2, index number of this will be 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's how we uniquely identify each of the objects, right? So that's what we're passing index right here. So let's continue. Then we'll open these brackets, and then we can now display the card, the service card. So we'll have a div tag. So for this div tag, we'll pass the key, and the key is going to be the index, so that we can display each of the objects. Okay, because no two objects have the same index number, so we're passing key as index to uniquely identify each of them. Now inside this our service card, we're going to have our h3, and here is going to take service dot, the first thing we want to display from the object is the icon. Okay, from this object we want to display the icon, followed by the title, then the description. So that is an h3 tag. Then we'll have another h3 tag. And for this, we want to display the title. So it's going to be service.title. Then we have a p tag. And here we're going to display service.description. So that is for the services. So if we check now, if I click on service, okay, we're running into an error. Let me inspect and let's see what the problem is. Click on console. Okay, it's showing here that service is not defined here. Service is not defined. Let me reload this. Okay, so it failed to reload. Now what I'm going to do is to stop the server and then restart it, and then we'll check it out once more. So right here, this is where our server is running, right? So right here, Control C, then I'm going to restart the server, npm run dev. Okay, so I've restarted the server. Now you can see that this is working perfectly well. Okay, so let us style now. So we'll start with this div tag. Class name, text should be at the center. Padding on y-axis will take 4. Padding on x-axis will take 2. Text color should be white. And now to the h2 tag. The text size will take 4XL. Then the font, I'm going to set it to bold. And then margin bottom, I'm going to set that to 4. And the margin top will be set to 6. Now for the card container, we want to display it in grid format. So display will be grid calls 3. Set a gap of 4. And then max width will be 4XL. Then MX also. Now for each of the service card container, we'll style this. We'll set the background color with this color code as 001F0E. I'm going to set the padding to 6, rounded XL, text at the center, the width will be set to full, transition, transform, then duration will take 300. And then when you hover on it, you want to have a negative translate on y-axis, and that would be 1. Okay, next thing to style is this h3 tag. We'll set the text color to green, 500. Then for the title, text size will take 2XL, font will be semi-bold, and then margin bottom will be 3. Text here gray, 400, and then text size will be base. Okay, now you can see what we have right here. Okay, so we want to change the color here. So on this span tag, the text color should be green, 400. Let's see. Alright, so this makes sense. So the next thing we need to work on now is the portfolio, which is going to look like this. Okay, so for the portfolio, we're going to display all few of the projects. So what you're going to do when you're building this is to just add like 6 projects that you've worked on, get the images, and then get the details of the projects. But you can just follow this for now. So let me close this, and then we'll start working on the portfolio. So for our portfolio website, we're going to have, the first thing we need to have is the h2 tag, then we'll have a span tag, portfolio. After this h2 tag, we're now going to have a div tag, which is going to be the portfolio container. And right here inside this div tag, we're going to do something, but that will be later. But first off, we need to get the array of object that is going to hold all the details of the portfolio that we have here, just like we had it in the service section. So you're going to see that as well in the asset folder that I'm going to provide. So this is going to be it, and you're going to see this, like I said. Okay, so let's go through it. We have an array of objects for the portfolio. So for the first object, we have the ID, we have the image, the title, and then the details. So for the details is an array as well, and inside this array we have an object. The first detail is the icon. Inside the object, I mean, we have the icon, the title, the description. Then we have another object for the icon, title, description as well. So you're going to see all of this right here in portfolio.jsx in the asset folder. So let us continue. Now in this div tag, we're going to map over the array, the portfolio array dot map to display item. Then we'll mount our portfolio data from this portfolio data.jsx. We'll mount it right here. Then we're going to pass the key, which is going to be item.id, and also we'll have this item. We'll spread the item data. Okay, so what we did here was to map over the portfolio array of objects to display our portfolio data. Okay, so now I'm going to open the portfolio data so that we can have a broader details inside it. But first off, right here, we're going to pass the image, title of the item, and then details of the items here. And then we can now start working on our portfolio data. So for the portfolio data, the first thing we need to do is to create a state variable that's going to control whether the modal is open. This is what I mean right here. If I click on this, you can see that this is open now. If I close this, it is closed. So we need to create a state variable that is going to undo that. Okay. If I click on this, it opens. If I close this, it closes. Okay, so we'll create a state variable that is going to control whether the modal is open or not, and the modal itself will hold a boolean value, which is true or false. True for open, false for closed, and also we need a setter function to update the states when there is a change, whether it is open or it is closed. So we're going to have const modal setter function set modal will be equals to use state. By default, we want the modal to be closed. Okay, next thing is to create a function to toggle the modal visibility. So if the modal is false, then it becomes true. If the modal is true, then it becomes false. So we're going to have const toggle modal will be equal to create our function. We'll use the setter function, not modal. Okay, so now that this is done, this function is done, then we can now create the portfolio card. So for this portfolio card, I'm not going to delete this, okay, so that we can have a fragment. We'll create a div tag. Let me enter. Okay, so inside this div tag, we're going to have the banner image, right? This image that we're seeing here, this one right here. We'll have it first. So I'll have banner image. I'll use an image tag, and this is going to take image. After this banner image, we're going to have the overlay, which is this. If you hover on the image, the text that you're going to see, and then the background that is going to cover up the image, right? So we're going to have overlay, and that is going to be a div tag, which is going to have an h3 tag, and it's going to take the title of the portfolio. Okay, after this div tag now, we're now going to have the modal section, which is the opening and closing. So which is this. If I click on this now, this is going to open. If I close this, it's going to close, right? So here we have modal section, and for this modal section, we'll check if modal is true, then we want to open and then display the details. Okay, so for this div tag, that's the first div tag, then we'll have another div tag. Inside the other div tag, we'll have an image, which is for the close button image. That means we need to import it right here. So it's in the asset folder. You're going to get that as well, close.svg. So I'm going to import close from dot dot forward slash close.svg. So right here, this is going to take close in lowercase. And also another thing we need to ensure is once the user clicks on this close button, we want to toggle the modal. If it is open, then we're closing it. If it is closed, then we're opening it. Do you get? So on click, we'll call the toggle modal function. Okay, so after this image now, we're going to have the title of the project. Title. After the title of the project, we're now going to have the details of the project. And by details, we want to display them as a list. And that list, we're going to map over the detail array. So details.map. If you're wondering where we're getting this detailed array from, it is from here. Let's head over to the first array of objects in our portfolio. This portfolio itself is an array of objects. This is an object right here. Okay, it starts from this and it ends here, the first object, right? So in this object, we have an ID, we have an image, we have title, and then we have details of that object. And the detail itself is another array that contains objects. So the detail is what we want to display right here. So we're mapping over the detail array to display the objects, the same way we mapped over the portfolio array to display the objects. Okay, so that is where we got that from. So details.map. Then we need to destructure the icon, the title, and then the description. If you're thinking where are we getting this from, this is it: icon, title, description. Okay, and then we'll have the index number to uniquely identify each of the objects. Okay, then we'll display the details as a list, and for each list we need a key. We'll pass index. Now for the list, we're going to have, the first thing we'll have is a span tag, and that span tag will take the icon. Okay, so if you're wondering why do we have just icon, it is because we have destructured right here. If we had not destructured, it would have been detail.icon, detail.title, detail.description. Okay, so destructuring makes your code looks cleaner, basically. So after this span tag, we're going to have a div tag, and inside this div tag, we're going to have two p tags. The first p tag will take title, and the second p tag will take description. Okay, so after this list, this unordered list, then we're now going to have the image that is going to show after the list, which is the main modal image. Okay, and that is this. We'll have image, and it's still going to take the same image, img, which we're getting from this, right? So this is what we have now. So now if we check, this is what we're going to see. This is the first image, the second image, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth image. So this is what we have now, right? So let us style so that it will look like this. So let's start with the portfolio data. So class name, oh, Control Z, okay. Class name, position would be relative. Then we're going to have rounded Excel, overflow, hidden, cursor. We're going to set it to pointer. And then we're going to have group. Then on this div tag as well, we're going to have an onClick method, what we're going to call the toggle modal function. Okay, so let me close this so that we can have a larger screen. Now to the image, we're going to set the height to 64. The width, we'll set it to full. Objects cover. And then group. Oh, no. Group over. Scale 105. And then we'll add transition. Duration 500 should be enough. Now to the overlay. That sounds like reading overlay. Anyways, let's do. Position will be absolute. Oh, no. Absolute. Insert, I'll set it to 0. The background color would be green. 500. Background opacity. I'm going to set that to 80. Flex item will be at the center. Justify center as well. Opacity, I'm going to set it to 0. Then group hover effects. I'm going to set that opacity to 100. And then we'll add a transition. After the transition, we'll set the duration of the transition to 500. And then for the title, class name, the text color would be white. Text size would be XL. The font will be set to semi-bold. Transform, translate on y-axis 4. Oh, come on. Translate on y-axis 4. Yeah. And then group over. We're going to set translate on y-axis to 0. And then we'll add transition. Go. And then for this div section, we're going to style it as well. Class name, position will be fixed. We'll set the insert to 0. The background will be black, 70. And then Z index will take 999. Display will be grid. Place items at the center. Then we'll set a gap of 4 between them. Then for this div tag, we'll have a class name. The background color will take this color code. We'll set the max width to XL. The width I'm going to set that to full. Padding of 8, border radius Excel, so rounded Excel. Position will be relative, and then we'll set shadow to 2 Excel, and then the text color would be white. Then for the close image position, I'll set that to absolute. I'll set negative top to 5, negative right to 5. I'm going to set the width to 10, the height to 10 as well. Cursor pointer. The background color will be white. Then border radius will be full, so rounded full. Padding of 2, and then we'll add a shadow of large. Then we have the title here. So for this title, the text color would be green, 400. Text will be 2XL. The font, I'll set that to bold. The text should be at the center, so text center. Margin bottom will take 6. Tracking wider. Then we have this list here. So for the list display will be grid. Grid template columns. So grid goes 2. Margin bottom will be 6. Then the list item display will be flex. All items at the center. So no, item start. Yeah. And then the text will add a gap of 3 between the items. Then the text color should be gray, 300. Then we have this span tag here. So for this span tag, the size should be XL. Then for the P tag that we have here, the text size should be small. The font should be semi-bold. And then the text color should be white. Okay, then we have this P tag. The text size should be XX. Okay, then we have the last one here, which is the main image. The width will be full. Height should take 100. Then objects cover. Border radius, so rounded large. Okay, now we're going to style this portfolio. Okay, so for this portfolio, we'll have PY to be 6, padding on X and padding on Y. Then all text would be white. You have an H2 tag, so we need to add the size. So text 4XL, and the text should be at the center. The font should be bold. Margin bottom 12. Then for this portfolio here, this font tag, we'll set the text color to green, 400. Then we have a div tag here. Display would be grid. Grid goes 3. So that means it should display 3 for each column. Okay. So now let's check what we have. Okay, you can see that this is what we have. Now if you hover on this, you can see that initially it's just images that are showing, images of the projects that are showing. Then if you hover on it, you're going to see a text, a text, a text, a text, a text, a text, right? So if I click on this now, it will show the modal display. Okay, so we have the name of the project, we have the project, we have clients here. So if I close this now, that is going to close, right? So now the only thing we need to adjust is this. Okay, so let's get to that. So that is in portfolio data in the list. Okay, so in the list should be group goes to, let's see. Okay, so this is it. All right, so this looks okay. Now the next thing we need to work on is the contact section. So I'm going to close everything that has to do with portfolio, and then we're just going to open contacts. So right here, the first thing we need to have is the header. We'll have an H2 tag. have a project with a question mark, and then we have a p tag. Send the message. Okay, so after this p tag, we're now going to have a form. So we're going to have our form tag. So inside this form tag, we're going to have a div tag. Inside this div tag, we'll have a label, and the label will be for first name. After this label, we're going to have another div tag where we're going to have two input fields. Inputs. Okay, so the first input field would be for the placeholder. This would be for first name. Okay, this should be full name. Yeah, not first name. Okay, and then the second input would be for last name. After this div tag, these two div tags, the closing, these two closing, we're now going to have another div tag. Inside, we'll have a label tag, and that label is for email. After the label, we'll have our input field. And then this is for email. Then we'll have a placeholder that would say example at example.com. Then after the div tag, we'll have another div. Then we'll have a label, and it's going to display message. Then we'll have our text area with a self-closing tag. Okay. Okay. After this div tag, we're now going to have our button. So button will be right here. So it says submit. Okay. So this is what we have. It looks dark for now, so let's just style. So we'll start styling from this first div tag. Max weight will be XL. MX also. We'll have a margin of 12, padding of 6, border, and then the border color, we'll take this color code. Then we'll have rounded XL. Text color will be white. Let me close this. And then we have the H2 tag. So for this, the text should be at the center. Text size will be 2XL. Font semi-bold. Then we have a P tag. The text at the center. Text gray 500. Margin bottom will be 5. Now we'll start with this div tag right here. So last name, we'll have margin bottom, we'll set it to 4. And then the label, the display would be block, margin bottom will be 1, and the font will be semi-bold. Then we have a div tag right here. Display would be flex, gap. I'm going to set that to 3. Now for each of these, for both of these, I'm going to style them together. So the width would take half of the screen size. Padding, I'm going to set that to 2. We'll set a border, and then the border color should take this 21, 25, 31, rounded MD, and the background will be transparent. Okay, that's for both of them. Then the div tag for the email, margin bottom of this will be set to 4 as well. And then we'll use the same styling that we have for this label. We'll use it here and here as well. Okay, then for the input field, we're going to use the same styling that we have here. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl Z. We're going to use this here. Okay, so it takes the same styling. Now for the text area, we're going to use the same styling, but we're just going to add more to it. So the height, I'm going to set it to 40, then resize none. Then another thing we need to style is the button. So we'll set the width to full, padding will be 3, background green 500, text color should be white, then the border radius. Okay, so if we check now, this is what we have. Now we need to set the width of this, both of them, to full. So here the width will be full, and also right here for the email, the width will be full as well. So if we check now, you can see that the width of both of them is full. Okay, so this is what we have at the end of the day. If you've watched this video till the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this helpful. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, and share as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.